what if I told you that visioneering could transform your life in your classroom? Would you do it? Not daydreaming, not wishful thinking, but intentional stopping and visioneering about the future you want for yourself, the future you want for your students, and the future that you want in your classroom or school. Hey, everybody, my name is Dr. Alexis M. Terry. I am an educator, a certified wellness coach, and I'm the author of the book, Real Love Strategies for Reaching Students When They See No Way Out. And today we are going to talk about the game-changing power of visioneering. Like, let me tell you, a couple of years ago, when I was in my 75 hard phase, I spent 5 minutes a day visioneering, and I can tell you it transformed my life, and I'm confident that it will transform your life and it'll transform the lives of your students, which is why the whole concept of visioneering is one of the pillars in my real love framework. So let's talk about it. So first thing is, what is visioneering? So visioneering is this intentional practice of sitting still and thinking about and intentionally, let me put emphasis on intentionally thinking about the future that you want for yourself and the future that you want for your classroom. Visioneering is critical, and it's something that we should do every single day as human beings and as educators to get us focusing from what's right in front of us in the now to thinking about the possibilities of the future. And that's what just the real love is all about to me. Real love and not being able to see our way out of a situation. Visioneering helps us to imagine a future beyond our current reality. And like I said, visioneering, it's not just dreaming, it's not hoping, it's building a future before it shows up. It's seeing beyond your current realities and aligning your thoughts, your actions, and your systems with the future that you were called to create. So visioneering says that I don't let my current circumstances or situations define the future possibilities. For educators, again, this is especially important because when you're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're stretched thin, visioneering should not be an option. It should be essential. One of the things that I often talk about when people ask me, like, Alexis, how did you transform your life? How did you escape your current reality? That was because I was blessed with the opportunity to see other options that were available for me and to me, despite what my current reality was. And so because I was able to see those other options and opportunities, I was able to dream of a life and think about what were the steps that I needed to take to step into that life. When I was in the classroom, I practiced the skill of dreaming about the classroom that I wanted and then thinking about what are the thoughts, the actions that need to be put in place in order to get this desired outcome. And so here's the truth. When we think about like why educators need visioneering, is that teaching is one of the few professions where you are constantly pouring out and you're barely giving yourself space to imagine what is next and what is out there. Like you are always on the go. I think that like teaching is one of the few professions where like you get caught up in the autopilot. We are making thousands of decisions each day just off the cuff, no intentionality, just reacting to what's happening around us. And so visioneering shifts you from reacting to being responsive. Visioneering interrupts this cycle of this day-to-day mundane, like I am just doing what it is that I know I need to do with no intentionality behind it. And so when educators visioneer, they reclaim their agency. They reclaim their purpose and they reclaim their hope for the future. And so again, when we think about my real love framework, It's about believing that transformation is possible, and visioneering helps you to think about what a transformed life looks like for you and looks like for your students. So, when you think about visioneering and making this a practical step, where do you start? So, one of the things, if you've ever attempted 75 hard, one of the things that is in phase two of 75 hard and the 75 hard challenge is spending 5 minutes a day sitting, grounding yourself, and visioneering about the life that you want for yourself. And so the way this looks really is the way I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to tell you the way that I've done it. But the way that I would do it is at the end of a day in a classroom, sitting still, the kids are gone, my desk is organized, and just really sitting there thinking about the future educator that I want to be. Spending 5 minutes thinking about who that girl is, right? Who is she showing up every day as? What is she wearing? What car is she driving? What lesson is she preparing to teach? How is she engaging with her students? How are her students engaging with her? How does she make her students feel when they come in the classroom? How does she make her colleagues feel? Most importantly, how does she feel? And what is she doing every single day to become that girl? Like that's visioneering, right? When you think about it in your personal life, who is it that you want to be? And what are you doing each and every single day to become that person? Like, I think that when I think about and I look back on my life and where I am now and all the things that I've been able to do, from leaving the classroom to stepping into, keynoting and consulting and writing a book, and then stepping into the nonprofit space and becoming a nonprofit leader. Visioneering was foundational to every step that I made, right? Because what does Beyonce say? Like, I see it, I want it. Like, you first have to see it in order for you to know what are the steps that you need to take to become it. And so, with visioneering, like, when you think about the different areas of your life, personal, professional, like, I challenge you to sit down 5 minutes a day, close your eyes. You like me? Get your tea and really take time to think about who is that person that you want to become. Like, and get very detailed, right? Think about the person that you want to be in the future and what you want for your future. What is that? What car are you driving? What clothes are you wearing? How many degrees do you have? What positions are you stepping into on your campus, outside of your campus? What are you doing for your family? What are you doing for your friends? What are you doing for yourself? What does your hair look like? Like, all of those things. Think about it, dream about it, and then break it down backwards by design. What steps do you need to take to become that person, right? What steps do you need to take to step into that leadership position? What steps do you need to take to obtain that degree? What steps do you need to take to transform that school or transform that district? What steps do you need to take to write that book, to launch that PD? That right there is visionary. And when you do it, you want to sit quietly with yourself, with your thoughts, no phones, no distractions, and ask yourself these three questions. What kind of educator do I want to be? What kind of environment do I want to create? And what kind of life do I want to work and to support this vision that I have for myself? Don't rush the answers, don't judge them. Just let yourself see the possibilities. And one of the things that I like to do when I am done visioneering is I always like to reflect. Reflect on what it is that I want to see. From a biblical perspective, we got to write the vision down. We have to make the vision plain. And once I take it out of my head and I put it on paper, I have clear, actionable steps of what it is that I need to do and what it is that God wants me to do. And visioneering is a powerful way to, and just sitting still, allowing God to speak to you, because you want to make sure that the vision that you have with yourself also aligns with the vision that God has for you. And so, visioneering and sitting and intentionally stilling your mind, stilling your body, stilling everything and tuning everything out around you allows you to clearly hear from God about the future that He has for you as well. And so now I want to talk about like visioneering in the classroom and how this shows up with students, because our students, especially our students who are struggling, they often can't see beyond their current circumstances. And visioneering gives them the language of hope. And that's what some of our students need. It's not that your students are apathetic, it's not that they have checked out, it's not that they don't care. They have lost hope, and visioneering gives your students the language of hope. And so, one of the things that I used to do in my classroom was daily vision statements. And so, when you start the day off or you start the week off, asking your students this question: at the end of today, what does success look like for you? Or by Friday, who do you want to be? Not accidentally, but as a person, who do you want to be? And what you want to do is have your students spend 5 minutes or 3 minutes, even for that, thinking about who it is that by the end of the day or by the end of the week they want to be. You'll be amazed at what they say when they're given the permission to dream about the future and the opportunity to imagine and escape their current realities. The second, and we've kind of probably all done this in our life, is writing a letter to our future self. Like, even as an adult, this is something that we should still practice and doing. Thinking about our future self and writing that letter to a future self. And we've all seen those videos where, teacher had somebody write a letter to the future self as a kindergarten or in the first grade, and then they graduate from high school and they give them that letter to see, have you become that person? And this is just a powerful strategy, again, to hope, to dream, and think about the possibilities of what is all out there for you. And it also helps you build those relationships with those students, right? Because with this, when students have that opportunity to release, that allows you to see where your students are, what are the obstacles that are standing in their way, and then how can you help them overcome that obstacle. It also allows you to see where you can cast a big vision for your students. Like, one of the things that I talk about is in my book is how there were certain things in my future that I couldn't see past, right? Growing up, like, the highest level of success was going and getting one of the good jobs at the post office. But it was educators who spoke college into me. It was educators who spoke the possibility of, making it out of South Central. It was educators who, took me on field trips, and they helped encourage me to join speech contests because they had a bigger vision for me than I had of myself. And some of your students need you to have a bigger vision for them than you have for themselves. The other thing is a vision board or even a vision binder. So, like, maybe decorating the front of a binder with the vision that students have. This binder cover could be career. It could be the type of house they want, the type of car they want, the type of neighborhood they want to live in, the profession. And challenge your students to think about and research what do you need to do to get all of those things, right? So, like, in the business world, one of the things that when you work with a business coach that they'll often have you do is think about what is the life that you want to live? How much money do you need to live that life? Or what are the things that you need to do to go off and acquire those things or build that life that you want? And from there, that helps you backwards by design plan every stage and phase of your life so that way you know exactly what you need to do to get that life. We should do that for our students, right? And this doesn't have to happen in a class that is specifically focused to college or career. This can happen in any single classroom that you want, and you can tie it to any single subject, right? But just giving your students the space and the opportunity to think big, to think beyond their now, and giving yourself the opportunity to constantly think big and think beyond your now. And it's important that your students see you visioneering, because they know that visioneering doesn't just stop once you reach adulthood, right? But so that way you don't get stuck in the day-to-day mundane of life, that you constantly prioritize seeing what it is that you want for your future and mapping out the steps to get there. And so again, when we allow visioneering to become this intentional thing that we do each and every single day, week, month, and not just the new year, because we're getting ready to go into a new year. And that's one of the things, is that people just tend to vision boards and intention statements and word for the new year, and then they never revisit it. Right? They get so stuck into the day to day that they lose hope, they lose sight, they get discouraged. And so building this habit of visioneering helps you to break this cycle. And so visioneering is the best way, when I think about my real love framework, that you can show love to yourself and you can show love to others, right? Visioneering helps you to develop this relationship with yourself. Visioneering helps you to engage with the deep cultural parts of yourself. Visioneering helps you to make sure that you're showing up as your authentic self now and for the future of who you want to be. Visioneering helps to make sure that you are creating environments, right? Learning the things that you need to know, so that way you can continue to elevate yourself and step into the future. Loyalty to yourself, loyalty to your vision. When you visioneer, you can think about the obstacles that you need to overcome to reach your goal. And then visioneering helps you to be prepared for a future that you may not even currently see. And so, again, when we think about visioneering, it's not just for students, it's for educators too. We need the belief just as much as our students need to believe. And so I want to leave you with this question. What if 5 minutes a day of visioneering could transform your life in your classroom? Would you do it? I want to know. And so, if this resonated with you and you are equipped and you feel confident about leaving here visioneering, I want you to drop a comment and tell me, what are you visioning for your life or your classroom in this season? And if you want more of this content rooted in real love, rooted in leadership, rooted in wellness, rooted in transformation, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the future, because again, we don't just teach content, we teach hope, we teach possibility, and we teach vision. Until next time, I want you to be real. I want you to love hard. I want you to teach truth, and I want you to lead well.